Business Network special presentation for the Fox News Channel. Out of work. Tonight, employment in America. Where are the jobs?
We're still not creating them as fast as we want.
There's nothing out there. Nothing.
Who's hiring?
You're hiring, but you can't find workers.
Who's firing?
They laid me off. They outsourced all of our positions.
Heads had a roll, so 10% of the staff was hooked up.
The reports are in.
A disappointing jobs report sending stocks swooning today. The jobs report today, boy, that was a stunner.
Jobs just ain't materializing.
And the numbers don't look good.
U.S. employers created just 69,000 jobs.
The unemployment rate inching back up for the first time in a year. Any way you look at it, this is bad news.
The team at the Fox Business Network brings you a special report on the real unemployment story. Because America is out of work.
And now, from the Fox Business Network headquarters in New York, Lou Dobbs.
America is out of work. Unemployment hasn't been this high for this long since the Great Depression. And the government tells us more than 8% of Americans are now unemployed. That sounds bad, but it's worse than even that. A record number of those workers have been out of a job for more than 6 months. All this despite billions of dollars in government economic stimulus and corporate bailouts, all of which we're told were designed to create and to even save jobs. Jeff Locke brings us some of the stories behind these numbers.
It's frightening.
Tony Rizzo, Pete Marrari, and Linda Fish all have something in common. Even though they're not working, or not working as much as they'd like, the government doesn't count them as unemployed.
I think there's a huge number of people in my position in this economy right now.
The underemployed, some part-time workers, people who have just flat out given up looking for a job. None of those people are included in the monthly unemployment statistics that we all hear about. So we wonder, who are these uncounted unemployed? What kind of an impact do they have on our economy? And most important, perhaps, why don't they count? The government's 8.2% unemployment rate we all hear about only counts anyone who has looked for work in the past 4 weeks. Figuring in all those other people who have given up looking and part-time workers who can't find a full-time job, you get what the government calls U6, which many call real unemployment. That is actually more than 14%, almost double what we hear in the headlines. Why don't we count everyone who's truly unemployed?
The measure of unemployment is obviously somewhat subjective.
Fifth Third Bank Chief Investment Strategist Jeffrey Korzenik says this is a problem.
Ultimately, you want more workers in the workforce, and so it's hard to have robust overall economic growth if you keep dropping people out of the workforce. These are all different machines.
30 years worth of machines.
Right.
Pete Marrari had spent 30 years repairing typewriters, fax machines, printers when he was laid off.
At first, it felt like a punch in the gut and a stab in the back.
But Marrari didn't give up.
My alarm was set at 4:21 when I was working, and it's still set for 4:21. Wife thinks I'm a little cuckoo.
He got up every day, put on a tie, and searched for a job. The best he could land years later was a temp job, only to lose it to a knee injury. He became uncounted.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you. God bless America.
When President Obama held a rally in Milwaukee back in February, Marrari took a sign he had made saying, "I want to work." You don't look like a protester to me.
I'm not protesting. I just want to get back to work. There's going to be people like me that will work no matter what.
Does government get it?
No.
Tony Rizzo is another of the uncounted. He worked for 30 years, mostly as a court clerk in West Palm Beach, Florida. He took a buyout in July 2009 and hasn't found a decent job since. You sound like what they call a discouraged worker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is where I live.
Tony went from living here in the historic Flamingo Park neighborhood in West Palm Beach to a boarding house. He is discouraged and angry.
Jeff, I can't put it any plainer that the online application process in this country is a crock.
Sitting in front of a computer at the Dunkin' Donuts, he explains that people fill out job applications only to justify unemployment benefits. He says real searching and, more important, real hiring is scarce.
I thought, no problem, I'm going to find another job in no time because I have a great resume, I have great references.
Linda Fish, who had a career managing bookstores that did millions of dollars a year in business, found herself shelving books at Borders.
The most difficult thing was the learning part of being quiet and just taking direction and not offering advice and not telling people what to do.
Oh, and the $8 an hour, a far cry from the $30+ an hour she used to make. That was tough too. She now writes a blog called Underemployed is the New Organic.
I volunteered how to build a garden.
Back in Milwaukee, Pete Marrari is trying to grow his own food to cut costs.
You know, I'm hoping that I can somehow have dignity and still be a successful electronics person, but if that doesn't work out, well, then I'm going to have to do something else. And until then, I'll just live off the land.
He says they may be uncounted, but that doesn't mean they don't count.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. There's really a fundamental question here. In a $16 trillion economy, why can't we create jobs?